welcome back to the channel. And today I'm going to talk about the PlayStation VR2 for Star Citizen, kind of like the setup and what I use, and kind of like my findings and my fine tuning. Mainly just doing this video because of got a couple people from my org and my brother thinking about purchasing it, and so just making kind of like a tutorial for them and kind of like things that I do, kind of showcasing a little bit. I think this is a very good sleeper introduction to VR, especially for Star Citizen. This is the PlayStation VR 2. Here's right here. I kind of really like it. It's my first VR head. I've tried the Meta Quest, and I like this one. One of the things that I like about it is that it is a direct connection to PC, so there's no battery pack. So you don't have to worry about using like virtual desktop or anything crazy like that as well on there. It's pretty standard. What I was actually impressed is how good the quality of the headphones are, and even the mic that's built into it, and kind of like the ease of use. So just kind of show it off a little bit. We have, this is the back area. It's a push. It extends, and then this one just like it tines and then you press it to release it. And also has the front. It's got a button here on the top that also extends the front, so you could adjust here as well. It's got a little knob here. It actually changes to kind of like the lenses to, you know, left to go inward or outward for comfortably. And then the little pads right here. These are actually really good. What I like about it is that I had no actual light coming in once I put it on, so that was actually really good. And then the cable is a freaking enormous cable. I think it's like 12 feet or something. I don't even know. I mainly just play while I'm sitting down on there, so it's really good. On the bottom, it has two buttons. It's got a power button right here. I believe this is the microphone, and then it's got a button right here. It's got to be able to see this one right here. It actually changed so you can see outside of it, so you can see where everything is at, and then go back to the screen. So yeah, it's actually it's pretty nice. It comes with 2 controllers, which I'll show one. They're both the same, but it comes a left and right. They're pretty comfortable too. But playing Star Citizen, you don't really use them. You're just try them out. Bought a little game. Thought it was fun. So one of the things that before on it that I would say is, one, you need the PlayStation VR PC adapter. It's really easy to, can't really show it, so it's plugged in. Pretty easy. You just connect it to a USB 3, and then you connect the headset to it, and then it's got a display out. That's it. Really, all it is. Takes 30 seconds to do it. But yeah, I'm gonna go through a few things about the kind of like the setting up, things to know about. I use sticks. I have VKBs. Let's see if I can get one out and show. Yeah, so I have VKBs for it. That's 30 for both sides. So that helps out because it's not control. I don't have to worry about the using mouse and keyboard on it. So when flying, makes it a little easier. I will say this, and I'll leave a link to this one. It's not an affiliate link, but I have an actual mouse with, as you can see, it's got 12 buttons on the side. I've been using that for a while. Everything from my Discord, things like open up inventory, things like that. They're all here. Plus, it's got a button here as well. So we got 13 extra buttons for it. But the wheel and a button on the wheel as well is USB It's got its own like a charge Type C for charger on there, and different. You could actually increase the DPI, and then each one of those can actually be um, fine tuned however you like. So it's got 4 modes, and you could actually fine tune it the way you like it. So I like that. So I use that when I'm in, first person. Take my guns out, do things like changing the mode of my guns, and so on. So it just makes it a little easier when you're actually playing in VR, because you're not going to be able to see your keyboard. So okay, and then so yeah, we'll continue on. I'll show kind of like the things that you need after you plug up your headset. All right, so there's 2 things that you need to be able to play Star Citizen VR. It's Steam VR, and then PlayStation 2, the PlayStation VR2 app on there. Free downloads, easy to install. One, it's kind of like a install and that's it. And what you have is something like this. This is the Steam VR panel, and then this is I'll make it bigger. Oh, I can't. Okay. It's just the VR app. Once it knows once you should get this message that says reset headset. I kind of just in here. Once you turn on the VR headset, and then once you hit down the reset one, it'll actually, the Steam VR will know that your VR headset it's on. And once it is on, if you look at once you start it up, the whole thing, like I got 3 monitors, you're actually going to get another display here. Once you start the game, you'll get another display, which is kind of cool. The VR, to set it up, is pretty simple. I will say is you need to have your controllers on a Bluetooth. I bought like a $10 little. I'll leave a link to that one on there. It worked perfectly on there. I will say this: when that little Bluetooth, if you don't have Bluetooth, the little Bluetooth adapter, as far away as you can from it, not as close, and that helps. I found it better, in my opinion. I haven't had any, hey, we can't find your. Sometimes you get a little message saying, hey, we lost Bluetooth on your controller. Again, you're not going to use your controller, but if you want to play other games with the controller, that's what I will say. But it's worked perfectly on using that little $10 little TP-Link USB 500 or something. It's $10 on Amazon. But the actual the setup for it is pretty much what I showed you guys. It'll show you how to use the strap, how to use the controller, the buttons from the headset. That's pretty much what it do, and then it'll be like, okay, you're done. Once you do that once, you'll set the area. Are you sitting down? Are you standing? It takes about 3 minutes, really. But my controllers were like out of battery, so I happen to have 2 USB-C connectors, because that's how they charge. I just plugged them up on there. I let it charge for like a few minutes while I did everything else on it, and then after that, I was able to connect it on the Bluetooth. And then if you go here, see, it'll show like it's not connected right now, but it'll show something like that, left and right. Once it's connected on there, this thing will say connected, and then it'll give you the next, and then you go through the process of it. It's I'm not going to go through it. It's like a 3-minute thing where it's just showing you how to use a headset. It's kind of dumb, so I'm not going to go through it. Anybody can do it. But for the Steam VR, all right. So here's a couple of things. I will say at a minimum, you need a 12 gigabyte card. I have a 4070 Super, and it struggles a little bit, but that's what I will say is 16. It's you will want, if you want to have a better than normal experience, but at 12, I will say that's the minimum requirement if you're trying to play with Star Citizen. Anything less than that, it's not going to be a good experience. I'm going to say that. Mainly for video is what we really need to talk about. There is a developer part on it, but because it's just kind of like a beta on the VR, a lot of the things that you will see on the website or other videos about improving your head tracking, all that, it's not going to work. So right now, this is the most that you need to do. I will say on motion smoothing, never turn this on. It is horrendous. Do not do it. If you're on older car like me, 12, 90. If you're on 16 or higher VRAM, 120. I'll give you just a better experience on there. This right here, the resolution inside the game is not going to do anything. This is what is going to control the resolution on per eye. So remember, you are effectively rendering twice. So yeah, you could say I playing 4K easily. It'll be right here at 100 when you start the app because it's 4K per eye. You're essentially rendering twice. So the card itself, my card is too much for my card. So I think most people will say something like 68, between 60 and 70 is a good one on there. You can go as far down as a 1520, but in here as well on it. But for readability, if you want to be anything below 60, it's going to be really hard for you to be able to read little text and such. I have had not usually between 70 and 80. I haven't had much of a problem on my card. But again, if you have a higher card, like 16 gigabytes of VRAM, then you could easily run this at 100 and have no problem. On 12, I have found something like 70 is a good one to start with. You want advanced super sampling filtering on. And then I pretty much just turn everything else here off. And there's really nothing much you need to do. When it comes to like audio input device, you could do, system default or just put headset. Either or. Usually it will reset to your headset. I use the headset. I don't do audio metering. I don't need to, but yeah, the headset has earplugs are really good, and the microphone's actually really well as well. So let's go talk about a little bit about something else when it comes to like I have an NVIDIA card, so kind of like the settings that I use. All right, so NVIDIA app, you really do want to make sure drivers are up to date. I'll just say that. So when it comes to graphics, for Star Citizen, normally, as you can see here, I'm like, I put this on ultra performance to use as much of the fake frames as possible when I play the game normally anyways. Low latency mode. So this one's actually not bad. It controls the number of frames. They can prepare before the frames are processed by the GPU. Because I am GPU, usually my GPU is the bottleneck. I do that. That way I'm not constantly being bottlenecked by my GPU. A little coffee break. So that's why I do this. The Ultra, no need to. And because I don't use VSync, I just only use G-Sync on there. So so that's one of the things. Don't turn this on either. Never use it, never use it, never use it. It's so bad. It really is. Image scaling, yes, I turn this on. I put this at 50%. I want, as many fixed frames as possible. And then I'll talk a little bit about HDR. They say you can't actually have HDR inside VR. You can. I'll show you how. And I do like the RTX HDR. Sometimes I turn on, sometimes I don't. It's a little more brighter, but if you want to, you just do that. So I'll leave it off for now just to see. so you guys will see. And the virtual reality super sampling right here goes in the global settings. So on the global settings, I always put always on to make sure that it's pushing the super sampling on. And then when it comes to the global settings, I always make sure that here the shady cache unlimited on, set on high. I will say that you can just put 10. It's fine. I just leave it like that. It makes it compiling shaders faster, I think. That's about it. And on program settings here, when it comes to just this game, I do say prefer maximum performance on there when it comes to the power management point, just on this game. That way everything else stays the same. And for Star Citizen, when you start Star Citizen up, we will do that right now. There we go. It's just only one setting that you need to make sure that you have on before you launch the game. It's on game settings, and then under here on the games, enable VR mode. That needs to be clicked. So that needs to be clicked. That way, when you do start the game, it'll recognize your VR headset. So we'll go in game and talk a little bit about the settings inside. What did they do, what they don't, and so on. All right, so I think now I should be recording the VR view. So this is what you see inside the game on here. So I'm starting the game in the background. So you got this little thing right here. This is where you will take the controller. See if I can find. There you go. I got a controller in my hand now. You gotta hit the little PlayStation button for it, and then it'll show up. Yeah, there you go. You'll be able to see my controller. You got a couple of actual things here. If you want to recenter right here, you'll look, it'll recenter. It's actually looking pretty good right here. And then you could do some settings here, like video and such. But I already did it beforehand, so I don't have to. But if you're here, you just have to do is click on the now playing, return to game, and it should return to the game. And now for it to show up over here, you actually have to go. Oh, actually, you know what? This is where where is, yeah, see where it says desktop view? Boom. I'm on desktop view. This is how I can kind of do what I need to do before the game starts. So a couple things here. I hope this is actually recording correctly. I guess I'll find out. Now options. Couple things to know. All right, so when it comes to graphics, none of this actually matters at all. Because when you are on this right here, the resolution is actually done in the VR app. So this stuff does matter here. Now, I usually put on performance because I'm only using 12. Forget about this right here. Remember, you are essentially doing this twice. Oops. And then I hit the button. So let me. Oh, there you go. There you go. So essentially, you are pretty much doing you are going to do that resolution twice. So that's why I always put in performance. Now you do get better quality here, but I have also found the you can get better performance with the CIG one, but it's not as pretty. So I'll let you guys we'll test it out in game. I'm gonna start out with disabled, and then I'm gonna go with, obviously I can't do very high. I'm just gonna do low because yeah. And then when you first start out, you need to make sure that this is enabled to yes. Very important. And of course there's a theater mode, but now if you see, because I did yes in the background, you can kind of see that in there. Once I do that and this is yes, I could actually go here, go return to game, And now I'm in the game using the VR headset. And then we're going to go through some of the settings right here once we're in the game. So let's go inside and play some Star Citizen. I wonder if hopefully let's do best and we're not on fire. I will say this, that it has been an amazing experience playing this in VR. Oh, it is working. Okay. I didn't realize how good this game really was in VR until you try it. So when I hear people say that it's an experience that people should at least try, definitely have. I have mainly used this as to do things like Siege of Orison or QV Breaker Station. That's when I found like the most fun to do those, events things. And then I've had no problem with this headset. It's comfortable. And I've done it for long periods of time. So I think I'm eventually going to do whole videos just doing VR with a whole do things like the Germandi snakes and so on. All right. No whammies. Okay, here we are. We're going now. All right, and here we are. And it's actually not. It's pretty fluid. It's pretty. So that's pretty much why I said it. It doesn't look bad at all. And then I am getting some lag. So let's see what we can do for lag wise. Why are we getting lag? Usually this setting is actually done. Oh, it's because I'm recording as well. So I'm also recording. So I keep forgetting that because I'm yeah. So also recording is causing some issues there. Let's see how the CIG one. Usually I get slightly better performance. Yeah, I got a couple more frames. I should have probably done a lower resolution so I can record in OBS. But we're here now. So let's talk a little bit about. Yeah, it looks a little uglier. Usually I don't have issues, but it's the first time I'm recording in OBS as well. On top of the fact that this thing is actually rendering two displays at the same time. So I guess I could be doing worse. So let's look at right here the settings for it. Okay. So I don't do theater mode. You can. A lot of people use it for like FPS, but I don't think I need it. Usually for mirror mode, which is what you guys are seeing, is the right eye. It's technically 2. So imagine if you think about the old school way of doing 3D, where it's like you have one lens that's blue, another one's red, and they kind of just put them on top of each other. That's technically what it's doing. This right here, the scale, and I'll show you what it does. I'll just take out a. Nope. Hit the wrong button. So this, you can see that right here. Yeah, it's my tractor. Now, and here, right there, and this has to mainly for you. And this is if you move it, see right there, it's actually changing where that is. I don't like it. It looks smaller, but here it kind of brings it down a little bit. So usually, for me anyways, it's kind of where I like it. I feel that around here, like 25 is usually where I would put it. There we go. Because I think it's a good spot. It feels natural. where the gun will be. And you could actually set the smoothing on the mirroring, which is technically what we're doing over there, but don't have to worry about that. So here, the direct offset, easier to play. So if you go to grounded look, I'll show you the difference. So grounded look. So I'm moving my head, right? And as you can see, I'm scrolling the mouse down, and you see how my hand is moving by itself. So what it does is your mouse becomes your hands, and your head is your head. When it comes to FPS combat, though, it becomes a little bit harder. I don't like it. I think that's what a lot of people have issues with. But this is why when it comes to FPS, let's say if you're doing FPS operations, you do want to go with the direct easier to play. What does that do? My mouse and arms move at the same time. I'm not moving my head, actually. I'm keeping it still. So this is just this is your traditional Star Citizen experience. So now, when I'm doing FPS, see, it's just easy. Like, I have no issues whatsoever doing FPS this way. But you can still move your head if you want to. So that's the difference between those two. And I think for FPS, it just makes it easy. Like, I have no problem. I did Siege of Orison. I did the SD facilities. I had absolutely no problem whatsoever doing FPS in VR because of that. There's a couple other options, other things to look at, and then there's another one that is recenter on FPS. So this is the one that when you aim, it puts the dot right in the middle. So let's say if you're over here, see, the gun will always center. That's kind of like the other must. That way you know that wherever you're looking at, you see that the crosshair is pretty much going to put the red dot on the crosshair. Very simple. Super easy. And I think, and then we have, now, when it comes to the UI, you do have some options here. The distance UI scale, like for the UI itself, see? You can make it bigger, smaller. You can make it bigger and at the same time make it farther. For people like me who are blind and need to be able to read better. But you could do that. And then the height, it'll move it up and down. This one right here, 3D cursor follows head. I detest this. So I'll show you what that is. I really don't like it. And this is mainly when you hit interact on something, you hold F. So if you hold F, my head is moving it. So when I hit here, then I will click the mouse. The problem is I'm so used to using my mouse and as you can see, this thing tracks every little thing. So I don't like it at all. Probably work good if I was actually having if I had like a better graphics card. But no, I completely depth of field. This is where it feels like you do feel like you're like gonna fall. So I think that's cool. You could actually remove the HUD. Very immersive. Of course, you can't see your health, so I don't recommend that. But definitely, I recommend turning that off. And of course, I could use the mouse. You could use that. The distance for the movie glass. This was actually working in 410. So, and I'll show you what that means. See, when I pull up the Mobi glass, see how it's right here? In 410, that actually now moves forward, so you could actually, it's actually better than when you're not playing VR, because now it looks like it's actually on your arm. That's what that is. So it only works in 410, so I think that's a feature that's it works for me in 410 but not in 4.9. And when it comes to HDR, here's a couple of commands. So R_stereo mode all allow HDR equals 1. Now, boom, type that in, and I'll have that in the description below. Now, wait for the brightness. Okay, if you plugged into an HDR monitor and it's already displaying HDR, if you turn this on, it's so bright. I turned this thing all the way down. Looks all right. But if you want a little bit more brightness, that's what you use. Now, if you don't have HDR, this is actually this is settings that I have seen that for light and everything. 25, 44, or 45, 45. I found it to be the great when it comes to how it looks. Let me know what you think, but this is actually how my settings are. And the field of view, this does absolutely nothing, because the field of view is attached to the field of view of your actual the headset. So that another one doesn't do anything here. And the settings right here, depending on your card, just be mindful you are essentially doing it twice. But yeah, so when it comes to performance, the CIG one, you actually get pretty good performance. I haven't tried it with the X11 because it's just kind of choppy, but dude, I found this to be great and great when it comes to the graphic settings. Theater mode, it's just having a big TV. I already have a 45-inch, so. But yeah, you want direct offset. Actual mode ADS direct offset. I've always put yes, and then my dominant eye is the right one. So when if I want to aim with the right eye plus my left one, it looks perfect, and recenter. And this is the vehicle HUD projection. It's the same. Just like the little HUD, the heads-up display, you could kind of set it here as well for the vehicle. And then you could kind of like set around here however you feel, however you like it. But that's pretty much it on that part. And I will say this so you guys can see. I do like how the inventory looks in VR. You won't be able to see, you probably don't see what I'm seeing, but it looks very nice. Excuse me. Okay, so when it comes to, oh, here it is. I'll show you why. So scopes do not work. Actual scopes, they don't work. And I'm going to show you what happens no matter what setting you use for scopes. So this one works just fine. Now a scope. Here we go. Yep. So because you said what's going on here? Okay, so the thing is that the scope itself is physicalized. So you are actually looking through a physical scope. Unlike other games, there is no actual physical, it's just looks. And when you're looking down, there's nothing there. But not on this thing. This thing is an actual scope, and you actually have to like try to look through it. See, you actually have to look through it, and of course, it's kind of jittery. Yeah, because when you're doing this, you're actually looking through that scope. it's an actual scope. It's an actual physical scope there, and that's why. So as long as you're not using an actual scope, you're gonna be fine. Everything does look amazing being in VR, even at this low settings. Everything, and you see the scale. I think that's the main thing, because you could actually kind of feel the scale. You know, I won't go with the whole it's beautiful. No, it's just like it's the scale of everything. Everything looks intended, and you could see why they went as big as they did. So it feels like you're in a huge hangar. It's just a medium hangar, and it looks 6 times bigger than I ever imagined. And of course, there's little details about it. So, but yeah, that's my little video on PlayStation VR2. The setting up, and so you guys kind of see how I set up what I choose. Let me know in the description below what you think, and if you tried it, and with the Meta Quest 3, what kind of graphics cards you guys have tested on when it comes to Star Citizen VR. I'm just using a 4070 Super. If I wasn't recording in OBS, I could go at 90%, and I'm probably close to about medium in most of those settings, and it looks nice and crisp. But because OBS is trying to record and so on, it's a little more problematic. But let me know what you guys think. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.